Hello, you guys. I am back. I am going to do a review for you today. So I have had this pizza crust before. However, it's been a little while. This is by the company Scotty's, and I've had really good experience with them. It's funny because I remember liking this a lot. However, if you take the reviews on Amazon to heart, they do not like this pizza crust on there. It's very split, and I actually really like it. But I don't really remember it, so I figured I would do a review. And what I'm going to do is, the very first thing I'm going to do is, you guys are just going to watch me actually make the dough. And then I'm going to put it in the oven. And then the review is going to go into me actually talking about the flavor, the texture of the crust, and what I actually feel about the product. But I figure a part of the review has to be the process of making it. Because if it's difficult for whatever reason, then, you know, that impacts a product for me. I will say that the companies, I bought this on Amazon, but it shipped very quickly. And they're very active on social media, and they're very quick to respond when you have questions, which I love. So I love the company itself. So like I said, I don't really remember this, so let's make it together. Okay, so let's begin. One of the things I really like about this product is that these are the items that you need. 3/4 cups water and 3 tablespoons extra virgin olive oil. So you guys know the mixes where you also need eggs and oil and yada yada. So the good thing about this is water and olive oil. That's all you need. I'll get into, after we make it and we try it, I'm going to talk about the nutrition facts a little bit, but we're going to get to making it now. So it says to preheat the oven to 425 and position rack and bottom of 1/3 of oven. Oven is preheated, ready to go. In a bowl, empty the pizza crust mix, add the water and 1 tablespoon of the olive oil. Mix with a spoon or a stand mixer with a paddle attachment at low speed until the dough comes together, stopping once to scrape the sides and bottom of the bowl. I'm just going to mix it with a spoon. Not everybody has a stand mixer. And also, they're kind of a pain to clean. I prefer just using those if I'm going to make a cake or something more involved. Just to mix this with water and olive oil, let's just use a spoon in a bowl. Okay, and then after that, it says knead the dough by hand on a lightly greased surface or with your stand mixer's dough hook for 3 minutes. Okay, so we'll knead it by hand. Form the dough into a round ball. That's probably why I'm having so much trouble reading. Form the dough into a round ball and roll out to 12 to 14 inch round crust. Well, it's going to be rectangular because I do not have an actual pizza pan. I know, blasphemous. Someone that likes to cook and I don't have a pizza pan or a pizza stone. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, and then we're going to brush the pan with 1 tablespoon of the olive oil. Place the dough on oiled pan, brush the top of the dough with the remaining 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Okay, so this is why whenever I read ingredients, I read all the way through it. Because if I hadn't, I would have put the cup of water and the olive oil right into the mixture. So it's important to read all of the directions first, because the other 2 tablespoons of olive oil have a totally different application. You're not mixing it straight into the dough. So anyway, after you brush the top of the dough with the remaining 1 tablespoon of olive oil, you top with your favorite keto-friendly pizza toppings, and then you bake it for 15 to 18 minutes until edges are lightly browned, and then you cool for 5 minutes before slicing. Okay, so to keep the taste test of this fair, I'm actually just going to make just a cheese pizza, which is insane for somebody like me. When I wasn't keto, I was very much a cheese pizza fan, New York style. The big giant foldable pizza was my favorite. However, since becoming keto, I typically load up with different toppings. I'm talking onions, basil, olives, mushrooms, pepperoni, salami, soppressata, capicola, you get the point. But since we're doing a review, we're just going to keep it simple. Anyway, I'm going on and on and on. Let's get started. So we're emptying this into the bowl. And then I need to get my spoon or spatula. I kind of like to use spatulas because they're silicone. Okay, so empty the piece. Add the water and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Okay, so 3/4 cup water. Let's go do that. By the way, if you guys don't have a Berkey or if you've never heard of them before, you've got to look into it. I am in love. It's a water filter, and just read the reviews. They're so cool. Okay, so 3/4 cup of water and then 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Okay, so remember, it's 3 total, but it's just 1 going into the dough so far. Okay, 1 tablespoon. All right, now we're gonna mix it. They say spoon, I say spatula. A lot easier. Okay, guys, so it just says to mix it until the dough starts coming together. It's still pretty crumbly. I'm going to take my ring off. It's still pretty crumbly, but I think it'll come together a little bit more once we knead it. So it says to do it on a greased surface. So I am going to get my butcher block out of the way. There's still a little bit of the olive oil. Butcher block out of the way. All my cats are down there watching me. Okay, and so I have a marble top, and I actually did this on purpose when I got this island because it's really, really easy to knead dough on here. And I used to be a huge pasta maker. I still do it from time to time for my husband. But anyway, it makes the process much easier. So it says greased surface, so we'll put a little olive oil right on the marble. Roll up the sleeves. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Oh, and one thing I wanted to say is, and I learned this from making pasta. If you are kneading your dough and you feel like it's just too dry and it's too crumbly, don't worry about what the directions say. You can add a little bit of water to it because you really don't want it to be too crumbly because then it's going to be way too hard to work with. But this is actually coming together really well. So I don't think I'll need to add more water. So since this is a review, let me show you guys. Whoops. That way you can actually see me kneading it. So I will show you the dough here in a second because it's actually coming together pretty well. And what I mean by that is that it's coming together kind of like a conventional dough. It feels very, very similar. I know. That's my cat. I told you they were watching me. Okay. So that was pretty easy, actually. So after that, knead your dough by hand on a light greased surface for 3 minutes. That sounds about right. Really, all you need to do, there's no hard and fast rules for this dough in particular. There might be for certain pastas to knead it for like up to 10 minutes, but this one is saying to just knead it until, pretty much for 3 minutes or till the dough is, uniform, elastic, and not as sticky. So that's exactly what we have here. It feels really good to me. and everything feels really incorporated. That's the main thing when you're mixing dough. You just want everything to be incorporated. You don't want any dry spots. You don't want any overly wet spots. You don't even want any crumbly bits, any hard bits in there. You want it all uniform. Okay. So it says form the dough into a round ball and roll out to 12 to 14 inch round crusts. Like I said, we are going to make a rectangle pizza, and it's fine. I do it all the time. Okay, for the sake of accuracy and this review, I did actually measure it because it says to do a 12 to 14 inch circle. I did a 14 by roughly 11 inch you know, the shape that has all the uneven sides. Anyway, I measured it. And now the next step after doing that is to brush the pizza pan with a tablespoon of olive oil, place dough on the oiled pan, brush the top of the dough with the remaining 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and then you put the toppings on. So I have my hideous baking sheet here. Am I the only one that has these disgusting looking baking sheets? It's clean. They get so messed up. But anyway, it's clean and it works. So, whatever. All right, so we're gonna put roughly, I'm just gonna eyeball it. Tablespoon. And then I like to get in there and just use my hands. Let's get them messy. Because we're a pizza. Okay. Rub it down. Okay, let's peel it off of here. Hopefully it doesn't get stuck and then fall apart. It's been a long time. Well, maybe not a long time, but the dough wasn't the easiest to roll out. Pretty stiff dough, actually. But as far as the moisture goes, like the moisture level seems perfect. And besides the color, it's a little bit more beige than regular pizza dough. It looks pretty good. Okay, so we're peeling that off. It's actually coming off pretty good. This is why I recommended the spatula. It's just so much handier than the wooden spoon. Everything gets stuck to the wooden spoon. Nothing gets stuck to the silicone. Okay, so there she is, folks. That's all she wrote. All right, so it's going in. And I don't know, should I make a little curved? I'm trying to think if I should make like little tiny rolls around to make it more accurate, make it look a little bit more like pizza. Definitely can't hurt, right? As my good friend would say, when something looks this wonky and not very pretty, she says, "Ooh, rustic." She's my good positive friend that always has something nice to say. Oh, almost kind of looks like a galette. Okay. Rolling, rolling, rolling. And I will do a close-up, and then we will add our toppings. Well, she's not the most beautiful, folks, but hopefully she is delicious. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to squat down here a little bit. I'm going to keep it really simple. You might have, if you saw my last video on the barbecue sauce, I recommended Yo Mama's for, oh, I love the name, it's so funny, for no sugar added sauce. It even says right on here, keto certified. And whenever this is BOGO, I just stock up. Next year, I'm going to be better about canning my sauce because that is the best sauce in the world. There is nothing better than growing your own tomatoes in your own backyard and just using straightforward, simple, delicious ingredients. And I'm actually going to link the video of how to make your own sauce. It's really easy. And you'll be blown away. I promise. So anyway, we're going to use that sauce since I don't have any of my own. And I just use whatever. I mean, it's, you know, there's sauce that says pizza sauce on it. And to me, they taste the same. Not that there's not brands that are better than the other, but pizza sauce versus marinara versus pasta sauce. We don't, all the interchangeable words. So anyway, we've got the olive oil on there. I love olive oil. It's so moisturizing. Okay, so like I said, we're going to keep this really straightforward. I'm going to do sauce. I'm going to do some mozzarella, and then I'm going to do some shredded Parmesan. So it's going to, you know, just allow me to really give you my straightforward review. Again, I feel like you can cover up a lot of distasteful ingredients if you just keep adding toppings. So I don't want to do that. I want to give this a fair go. So cheese pizza it is. Okay, don't want to do too much sauce because then it's going to be too soggy. Okay. You know, I'm actually curious. What are your favorite toppings? I am not really a purist when it comes to pizza toppings. Like, I like it all. You can put anything on my pizza. If it's pizza, I'm eating it. You can put, first of all, I love pineapple on pizza. I even, during the summer, I'll grill pineapple. God, it's just so good, that combination, that sweet and savory. Put broccoli on mine. I've done Tuscan kale from my garden with sun-dried tomato, pear, gorgonzola, arugula. Again, I love it all. And then, of course, my favorite pizza, however, is that straightforward, like New York style pizza in the oven, the regular oven, not the wood-burning oven. Okay, anyway, here it is. It's going in the oven for, I should probably look at the directions here. Bake in a preheated oven for 15 to 18 minutes until edges are lightly browned. Okay, so cool for 5 minutes before slicing. So let's set our timer, which is around here somewhere. Oh, here we go. I'm going to set it for 15 and then just check up on it. Okay. See you in 15 minutes, guys. So I don't have a pizza stone or a pizza pan, but I do have a pizza cutter. All right, so I'm going to try to cut this pretty evenly just so I'm getting like, I like to have the correct amount of servings, like know how many servings of something I'm eating. It smells amazing. I think that's mostly due to the cheese though. All right. Okay. It's got good stability. You can see it's not floppy. It is not crispy, so it doesn't have that, even though it's, you know, stable, it doesn't have that snap in typical dough, which I'm not really surprised. It is soft. What does that remind me of? So one thing I will say that I have seen in the Amazon reviews, which I do actually think is accurate, a lot of people say this crust doesn't really have much flavor. And so the first time I made this, I put garlic salt in it, and I think a couple of other things, like maybe like pizza seasoning, like the kind that comes with like basil, dried basil and oregano and dried Parmesan and things like that. And I remember thinking the crust was fine after adding that. I understand why Scotty's might not do that, maybe due to sensitivities and you being able to customize it yourself. However, recommendation for Scotty's. I think that because the dough is pretty plain, and it needs something, like a regular stereotypical pizza dough, you'll put salt and olive oil, and it really doesn't need that much because that dough is just good. Like, it's just the fresh crust is just so tasty that I feel like it doesn't need a lot of seasoning. But this is it's kind of like a little bit, not too bad, a little bit cardboard like in flavor. So if it were me, if it were my company, I would put on the back, season this with all your favorite seasonings. Optional. Again, it's worth the money for sure. It doesn't taste bad. You're just not going to fool anybody into thinking this is regular dough. And I think I actually can kind of pinpoint what it reminds me of. Have you ever tried to make dough at home yourself and it didn't come out right? Like, it's not crispy enough. It's a little too dense. That's what this dough reminds me of. It reminds me of you fucked up. Sorry. You messed up a regular dough. That's not bad. I mean, it could be way worse. It could have a weird texture and a weird taste, but it doesn't. It's just very plain, kind of fluffy, and just you can tell by actually just breaking it like this, how it just kind of. Oh, it also reminds me a little bit of, and I guess this is normal, if you have any experience with gluten-free dough, that's what this reminds me of. It just reminds me of you're eating something, well, anything, even a pastry that's gluten-free, that's what this reminds me of. So again, I think it's worth it. So I believe, wherever the bag is, I'm going to put the price in here, but I believe I paid $11 for it, 11 or 12. When you think about it, and it made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 decent sized slices, like 8 slices this big. So pretty decent size. If you think about how much you spend on like even like a medium pizza from your local delivery place and then having them deliver it, and that's just regular dough. I mean, you're paying $12, $15, maybe even $20 depending on where you live. So I personally don't think it's expensive at all. And it's keto. So most, you and I both know, most keto things, they completely gouge you. My God, Smart Sweets. Have you seen the price on Smart Sweets? It's like freaking $8 for a tiny little pack. Crazy. I think it's $8 on sale. I think it's typically $10. So anyway, my point being, I do think it's worth the price. I give this a thumbs up if you season the dough. Put some salt in there. Put some dried garlic granules. Put some dried oregano, some dried basil. You gotta, as my husband would say, you gotta church it up a little. So without the seasoning, I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10, and with seasoning, an 8.5 out of 10. Fathead dough for me gets a 10 out of 10. It is delicious. If that's your primary goal, make the fathead pizza dough. The ingredients are more accessible. It's a little more difficult to make, I think, because you're dealing with a lot of sticky cheese and stuff. But if you want something like I went over before, a little lower in fat, a little lower in calories, then make this one. I mean, seriously, eat the whole pizza, Don't eat a whole fathead dough pizza, or do. Just be conscientious of how many calories and fat are in it. But anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this review. I enjoy doing these reviews. If you've seen any kind of obscure keto product that you're curious about, and maybe you don't want to pull a trigger because you don't know if it's going to be good or if it's a little too expensive or a little too exotic for you, and you want me to try it, drop a comment below. Let me know what you want me to try. I'll do my best to give a very thorough and accurate review. I think this is the first time I've actually said this in a video, but please give me a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe. I put a decent amount of work into these videos. So anyway, next week we are going to be doing, I kind of want to make an exotic Chinese dish for you. Low carb, of course. But if you have any ideas, feel free to voice them in the comment box below. I will see you guys next time. I'm going to sit on the couch, maybe pour a glass of wine. It's a little early for that, but I might, and eat my pizza. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day, you guys.